Ice in the bird bath. It's going to be a cold hike in Florida this morning. Well, I made it to the trail. It's warmed up a bit. It's a balmy 41 degrees. So I got a nice heavy jacket on, so with this heavy jacket it feels kind of nice. And just out for a walk and see how everything is out in the woods. I haven't had a lot of time to be out in the woods. Some of it's weather issues, and then just being busy. Whoa, tripped over a cypress knee. So it feels good to get out and walk in the wilderness and have some peace and quiet. So I'll check back in a little bit later on if I see anything interesting. Times I've been here, there was lots and lots of downed trees and brush and everything from the hurricanes, but it looks like the good old people at the Florida Trail Association, that looks like fresh paint, got through here and cleared the path, the hiking trail. So I truly tip my hat off to all the work that they do, keeping the trails in good shape and marking the trail markers and stuff too. It really helps all us that walk in the woods, and we should remember to thank the Florida Trail Association for all the work they do on the trails out here in Florida. Not a cloud in the sky. Doesn't feel as cold as I thought it was going to feel. So it looks like it's going to be a nice jaunt today. Hear a hawk in the distance. So let's see what adventures we partake in today. In the woods, my favorite place to be. Something interesting over here. Old watering trough for cattle, probably. That's kind of neat. When I breathe in, I can see the fog come out of my mouth. You don't often have that happen around these parts. I wonder if there's any ice on that water over there. I'm gonna take a gander. It's warmed up a bit since this morning, so I doubt it. Nice little tiny swampy area. Looks good. There's the vulture circling me. That's not a good sign. There he is again. I'm gonna see how the river looks. And then, depending on my ambition, I may do 3 different trails in 3 different places within a few hours. That'd be kind of interesting to do. And it's turning out to be a really nice day, so I can't complain, but I have a really nice jacket, so I'm doing all right. Some weird noise. You know, what's funny is I've been getting a little bit lackadaisical with my bear spray. You know, not always having it on me, but in my pack. But something did tell me to keep it on me today, so I'm more on a high alert with my senses today. Listening more carefully, looking at things more carefully, just in case. Like I said, I have one video I talked about. You should always go with your gut with everything, even if it's an overreaction, you know, just to, you know, listen to your gut. Man, it's beautiful out here. That sky is just amazing. We don't get a lot of bright blue, clear skies. Usually there's always clouds. But it's amazing. All right, today I'm trying to walk 3 different sections of the Florida Trail in 3 different places within 3 hours. This one's a little bit more popular. I already have some people here and it doesn't really look too nice. Looks like we had someone keeping here that might have been a homeless person or something that camped in here. And I'm trying to walk fast because some people just arrived at the same exact time I did, so this trail might be pretty quick and pretty fast to do it for the second trail of my idea of doing 3 separate sections of the Florida Trail in 3 different places within 3 hours. And oh man, as soon as I drove up, 2 other cars just drive up here, so I'm trying to walk fast to get a little bit ahead of them. So first one was swampy. This one's definitely more high and dry and a whole different element. It's closer to, you know, more of the city. It's not too far. Well, city town, I guess. And so you have some traffic noise and stuff like that, and so it's not as rugged as the first one, which is one of my favorite places, the swamp. This is definitely high and dry and scrubby, but still beautiful. So, second leg on my little adventures today of 3 different sections of the Florida Trail from 3 different separate trailheads. So, hope you enjoy. I'll probably be moving pretty fast. Probably not spend as much time here as I did in the first one, because now that there's people on the trail and stuff, and I like my aloneness, you know. I kind of get mad sometimes when I see people on the trail, because I just want to be alone and solo, you know, and have complete solitude. So, alright. So, I'm gonna shut down, move a little bit down here, and then figure out my last place to visit and walk on within 3 hours. It's mostly pine. It's nice, soft, sandy soil to walk on, but not sugar sand, which is annoying. That's like beach sand. It's annoying to walk in. But it's mostly a pine, upland type of environment. A lot of birds flying around. But that being said, it is beautiful. Anytime you're in the woods, everything's good. So I'll check back in a bit. Section has a lot of rolling sand hills in it, so actually get to hike some elevation. You know, most of Florida is extremely flat. Someone has this weird message here, LEO. Law enforcement, maybe? I don't know. Or someone named Leo. That's kind of weird to see on the trail, but So here it's high and dry, and like I said, wow, I got some elevation, which is kind of neat. Different from the lowlands. And if I remember correctly, that's all this is just from one little sand hill to another, where you make some ups and downs. You know, maybe the highest elevation might be 100 feet tops or so. But when you're at sea level or below, 100 feet sure seems like a high elevation. So, and these you see a lot. Those are pocket gopher holes when they pop up every once in a while, and they're all over the place. They love the soft sand to burrow in. Now I got to figure out the last third place to go to. Not sure yet. You can see here remnants of burned trees and stuff. This type of geography here with all the pines and the brush and stuff. The forest actually relies on having some forests like this that some small fires can clear out the brush and stuff. This is usually an area where you have more fires than you do in the swampy area. Still, every place has its own beauty, so that's always good. You know, different stuff to see, different plants, different animals, you know, depending on which environment you're in. That's always kind of cool. And always lots of fire roads across, which also serve as fire breaks. And right up here, we have a power line corridor, which makes great wildlife corridors, so animals can move from place to place and migrate. So that's one really good thing about the power line corridors. They definitely are useful to the wildlife. Alrighty, I'm gonna go to my third and final place. I'm up on the top of a sand hill, heading down into a little sandy valley and then back up another sand ridge up ahead. That's kind of the main characteristic of this part of the Florida Trail. And I showed you some of the sand mounds of the gophers. Here's a fairly new one here. They're really small and fresh, as opposed to the ones that I've walked through before. Unique trait of the sandy sand hills is you have the prickly pear cacti that grow a lot in wild out here. You know, something you see more in the desert, but we do have a lot of prickly pear cacti that grow wild here. I'll see if I can find a real plant and not just a little frond here that I have, or cactus pad, I guess, that I found on the side of the trail. Plants that grow in this dry area here. You have this moss here, these lichens, or moss. I've seen British soldier lichens here, and this moss, I think they call it reindeer moss. But here's one of the prickly pear cacti that grow in this environment. And when they have their red fruits, they're a favorite for the gopher tortoises when they wander around on the forest floor. This is also really good gopher tortoise environment as well as pocket gopher environments. There's a great blue heron waiting in the swamp. Well, I made a mistake when I had my announcement of doing 3 different sections of the Florida Trail, 3 different parks. I don't think the Florida Trail goes through this park, so it might just be 2 sections of the Florida Trail in different places within 3 hours and another preserve and their trails. Unless I find the Florida Trail, but I don't think it goes through here, so we'll see. So my little narration in the beginning will be a little bit, what's the word for it? Misleading, I guess. So, but let's see what cool stuff we find in this wonderful place. That noisy plane to go away. But a lot of times when you come up to this bridge, and it's a little land passage for the airboats, there's usually a gator or 2 hanging out around here. So maybe we'll get to see a gator. They like the sun on these little airboat runs. Get some sun, and then whenever they hear someone, they'll slide right into the dark, swampy water. Let's look over on this side here. I would think they'd be out this time of day trying to get warm because it was really cold, unless the water is warmer than the air. But we'll see. It's kind of cool to run through 3 preserves in one day. One was in the state forest, and 2 were the state water management preserve areas. I assumed that the Florida Trail went through all of them, but this one's a state water management, but I don't think the Florida Trail goes through it. But the other one I was at, where I saw the, you can always tell when you see the orange tag that you're on the Florida Trail, but it's still cool to hike through 3 places in one day in different types of environment. And this one's kind of like a mixed forest type of things. You have different elements here. You have a lot of oak, cypress, swamp trees, but then you also have in some areas where there's prairies with lots of pines and stuff like that. So it's a very diverse place. And I've camped here a few times, not as much as I really should. I really like this place a lot, but most of the hiking here is on a forest road, which is nice, but I prefer to be on the the thinner walking paths and the forest roads. But in the summer it's really bad when you're on these because the sun reflects off all this white lime rock roads and it blinds you. And then you're out underneath the sun all the time as opposed to a trail through the woods where you have lots of shade. But in the end, you're in the woods, so everything's good. So I'm not going to complain too much. Unlike my first 2 places, I've run into a couple of people, nice folks, talking to them. Some equestrians riding with their dogs and the horses. And equestrian folks are always really cool. I enjoy talking with them and stuff like that. And then just a regular person with their dogs out for a walk. So friendly people to talk to. So it's nice. It's been a good day. Probably gonna head back soon. Reaching my 3-hour limit. And then just have to make some notes in my video that the narration at the beginning will be a little bit misleading, because I thought for sure there'd be, and there could still be. I'll have to look at my map of the Florida Trail, but when I looked at the map here at the preserve, it didn't say Florida Trail anywhere, so it's a shame. I don't know how they coordinated to not add this to it, but it's all right. It's still protected and preserved and wild, and that's what it's all about, right? Saving and protecting wilderness from destruction. And on that note, that's a good note to end my video.